this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I had envisioned for myself. And I was 39 when I finally took action. Made some massive changes in my life. I think a lot of people would classify this period of your life as midlife crisis. I like to call it a midlife awakening. So yeah, my story, my situation, 39 I think I was. Worked in factories for the majority of my life. Always hated them. From the age of 16, my first job was in a factory. I left after 2 months because I didn't like it. But they're easy jobs to get into, and once you've got a bit of experience, you can get the good factory jobs, you know. Decent money, decent shifts, cleaner environment. But even that, you know, it's just... Some people like factories. I didn't. I hate being stuck in a room for 12 hours, monotonous, boring. I always wanted to be a lorry driver, and it took me until I was 38, 39 to finally think, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. It was a big risk financially, but I kept, one of the things, see, was once I finally have enough money, I'll do this. Once I finally have enough money, I'll do that. But you just don't get to that point unless, you know, you have a lottery win. Some of us, we work, and there's always something crops up to take your savings, you know. That's just life. Car breaks down, washing machine breaks. Or perhaps then you spend it on a holiday because you need a bloody break. Not that I've been abroad. I haven't been abroad since 2005, so that's, what, 20 years. But yeah, there was a lot of... I was becoming more and more frustrated and upset and depressed, working the same old crappy jobs, not getting anywhere financially with it. I was in a long-term relationship that wasn't working out, despite my best efforts. You know, I was kidding myself, really. I was trying to make it work for myself, for my kids and the family unit, and I tried really hard to give that a go. But again, you just plod on. You put up with the crap. Financially, you know, I should have been in a good place at the time I was 39. I'd been working since I was 16. Basically in the same boat, probably worse off. I was a good saver when I was 16, 17. Obviously I didn't have kids then and stuff, so that makes it easier, doesn't it? I got to the point where I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. And I didn't know how to change my life. I didn't know what to do, where to go, who to speak to. I needed to win the lottery so I could quit my crappy job and move to the beach where I'd be happy, no more stress, blah 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 blah. And it takes a lot of guts to get to a certain point in life and go, no, done with this, I'm gonna go do this instead. It takes a lot of guts. The thought of leaving my job, which was a good paid job for what it was, risk it all on driving, that was scary. It was scary to think about leaving my family unit, becoming single, living by myself, which I'd never done before. Will my kids hate me? Will I see my kids? Will I be able to afford living by myself? Single income? There was so much worry there was so much unhappiness in my life, but then the thought of trying to change something was just so scary, and it seemed impossible. So then I felt like I was stuck then, stuck in a certain situation, and that was horrible, totally horrible. I felt I had no control over my destiny or whatever. It's a horrible feeling that gets you right in your stomach. But I finally snapped. I went and took a delivery driving job, which was less money, and then I managed to get my HGV license, class 2, through a local college. It was totally funded for me, so I didn't have to pay a penny, which was amazing. I was so grateful for that. I couldn't believe it, just couldn't believe it. So they put me through my test. I passed in the December. At the same time, my relationship broke down, and a month later, my father became ill, and at the beginning of February he passed away. So a lot happened in a short period of time. Bish bash bosh. Then I moved to a new town. I only visited a couple of times in my life by myself. It was just intense, and the whole time I was worried about my kids. So things kind of got worse before they got better. There was a lot of emotional stuff to get through. A lot. Getting up every day, just brushing my teeth and going to work was almost impossible, but I did it, and I realised I had to work on all the different things that were triggering me emotionally. Grief, thinking I was worthless, working on that, trying to plan forward, what's my next move, how am I going to get some more money into my life. I eventually started applying for HGV jobs when I felt emotionally capable of going into a new job. It can be quite worrying for some people to get into a new job, and especially in a total new career you have no experience in. It's quite daunting. So I didn't apply for a while. I carried on with the van delivery driving job, and I went to men's mental health group. That helped me. I went to a domestic abuse group, which helped me in that department, and the fog started to lift. I started to see sunshine. I started to feel more clearer. I felt lighter. I still had a lot of stuff to unpack and go through, but it was well worth going through all of this stuff for, and I kind of wish I'd done it a lot sooner. Things have a way of working out. When we're thrown under the bus, or when we decide to make a massive change in our life and we don't know how it's going to pan out, 9 times out of 10 I believe that we figure it out as we go along. We make it work. But when you're in the negative place, worrying about, but if I did leave my job, if I did leave this relationship, my life's going to be worse because X, Y, and Z. You can't see a way out. You can't see light at the end of the tunnel. And I think you need to take that calculated risk and just think, fuck it, I'm going to do it, because you're only on this earth once. Do you want to turn around in 10, 15, 20 years time and realise that you hadn't made a change and your life is exactly the same? How scary is that? What's the scariest thought? Your life being the same as it is now in 20 years time, when you're 50, 60 years old, or the thought of moving to a new town, starting all over again, being single for the first time, no one's going to love me anymore, I'm worthless, I'm never going to find a good job, I can't afford to pay the rent, all of those things. Like, which one's scarier? I think a lot of people change up their life when they get to that question and realise that if they don't make a massive change, things are going to stay the same. Things will stay the same, and then you'll be like, wow, another 10 years have gone by and I'm still skint and I'm still unhappy and I haven't taken a new job. Nah, I'd say go for it. You know, I wish I'd done things, made choices sooner in my life. But, you know, it's 2 years, just gone 2 years since all those changes happened in my life, and I'm still going through certain aspects of it. I'm still trying to catch my breath financially, still working through some emotions and stuff, hence the channel, my journey. But I'm a way lot happier than what I was, so it was worth it for me, well worth it. If you're in this situation, or you've been through this situation, I'd love to hear off you and your experiences, your thoughts. Open yourself up, leave a comment. I'll try and reply if there's any comments. Like, my channel's tiny, so if I get a comment or two, then I think I'll have time to reply, you know. Not that I'm an expert, this is just my experience, and I hope you find it relatable, maybe inspirational. But yeah, one life, we've got to make the most of it. Sometimes we've got to take risks, make sure they're calculated risks. You have some sort of idea what you're going to do and how you want your life to be, and aim for it. We haven't got to accept what is, we haven't got to accept who we are right now. We can just reinvent ourselves if we want. You know, grow a beard, get some purple hair, change your career, move to a different town,